welcome to the movement walkthrough for our game Cross the Delaware by Bullets and Boots Software. Cross the Delaware is our simulation of the Battle of Trenton from December 1776, and over here in the strategic map you can see all the units that took place or were present in the battle. We've turned them all visible for purposes of the demo. And when the game is delivered, unless you have this option turned on, you'll actually only be able to see the units that you have detected. Washington's plan during the battle was to cross the Delaware in 3 places and circle the British Army in Trenton. And so that is the goal of this game. Movement is actually very simple. To move any one of the units, you click on, for instance, Sterling's brigade with your right mouse button, and you drag him to where you basically want him to go. And the game will show you the path that is the default path for the unit to take. If you don't like the default path, it's pretty simple. All you need to do is grab any one of the waypoints, right click it, and move it up to a different one, and the path will change. And so that's useful if there are enemy units you want to avoid, or if there are landscape issues. If we wanted them to follow the road, we could take the time to move the waypoints, but we'll try to keep this moving a little bit quicker. One of the things we did enable for this demo is this couple decouple button for the maps, and so when it's pressed and the maps are coupled, whenever you click anywhere on the strategic map, it'll bring you to roughly that area over here on the tactical map. So if I want to move, say, these units, I click here and they become instantly accessible. And so just real quickly, moving them across the river is just right click and drop to where you think they want to be. Okay, that's good. And then over here we'll move these guys as well. And so that's it. Oh, there was one other thing I was going to show you. Keep these coupled. One of the facts, we try to make our games as realistic as possible. And so here's Mercer's brigade, and you'll notice his status is waiting orders. Okay, no army moves instantly upon receipt of orders. That was true back in the Roman times. This is true still today. And so you'll watch as the status is going to have to change before they actually start marching, and that takes a bit of time because an army has to break camp, get prepared, get into formation, and eventually they will start moving. And so we've pressed the movement button, and you'll notice nobody has moved. Well, why is that? If we go back to Mercer, well, now his status has changed to preparing to march. And we have 3 steps in a typical turn. There's the setup, where you would place your reinforcements. That doesn't come into play in this game. There's movement, and then there's combat. And so we're just going to cycle through these steps for a bit, and let's see where Mercer is now. Okay, well, now he's finally marching, and he's going to be marching towards the river. And so when they hit the river, the status changes to fording the river. And that's a really slow process. And so as we get darker, you'll notice the screen kind of darks because it's truly nighttime now. And Mercer is still coming out of the river now. And so the next step he takes, he should start to actually make some progress towards his route. And so then the whole army has pretty much crossed the river. There's a couple the other point that we would like to show you is that we believe in command and control is one of the things that is not simulated very well in many of the games. And so remembering that the strategic map shows you all units, but over here on the tactical map, there's this Sterling's unit that we had move across the river, and then he's going to start making his turn south. Up here, he is no longer visible. And why is that? It's because he's out of George Washington's effective range. One of the things that happened during the battle is his plan was for his army to be split into 3 groups to cross the river in 3 places. But really, what really happened was the weather was so bad that the crossings only happened at one of the 3 locations. But Washington had no idea. And so he was expecting his entire army to cross the river, and his plan was built around that. But it didn't happen, and he didn't know it until deep into the battle, and so he had to change his plans appropriately. And so that is one of the things that we have modeled into the game. Anyway, that's the story for movement in our game Cross the Delaware. If you have any questions, please email them to us at info@bulletsandboots.com. We hope you're as excited to play this game when we complete it as we have been to develop it. Thank you very much for listening.